Hello students, how are you? I hope you all are fit and fine. So dear students, today I am here with another video in which I am going to read out and explain chapter 10, The Sermon at Banaras, written by Betty Renshaw in your first flight. Okay, so all the students, please take out your book First Flight, the brain reader, and open page number 133. So students, before beginning, let me give you the small introduction of this chapter. So before introduction, I am going to explain the title of this chapter. So title of this chapter is The Sermon at Banaras. So what does the sermon mean? Sermon means a religious or moral talk. So the chapter which we are going to read, it is about a religious or moral talk of Gautam Buddha which was delivered in Banaras. Okay, so I hope you all are ready to begin. So before beginning reading and explanation of this chapter, I am going to give you a small introduction to this chapter. Okay, so through a PPT, I will give you a small introduction to this chapter. Before we proceed, so let us go through these points which will tell us about the chapter, what lesson this chapter gives us. The mystery of life and death has always baffled us. Whenever we lose someone near and dear to us, we were in grief. So whenever we lose someone near and dear, so we are human beings. So it's our nature. We feel, grief. We are in grief. The lesson reminds us that death is the ultimate truth. Every creature who is born must die one day. So this lesson teaches us that the death is inevitable. It cannot be avoided. So everyone, those who is born must die one day. Every creature on this earth, those who are born must die one day. So now let us read about the author. Betty Renshaw Barber, Sinton, MS. Betty Louise Renshaw Barber was born in Shannon, Mississippi on September 3rd, 1927 to PC and Lillian Renshaw. So the name, her parents were PC and Lillian. After graduating valedictorian from Shannon High School, she went on to obtain her Bachelor of Arts degree from Mississippi College and later a Master of Arts from Mississippi University for Women. She taught at the preschool level for several years and eventually she was able to pass her experiences on to others by teaching preschool teachers. Betty married Joseph Henry Barber Jr. on December 23rd, 1950. They were married for 61 years. So it's all about the author. So let us have a quick look about this lesson. The mystery of life and death always baffles us. When we lose someone near and dear, we are sad. This lesson teaches us that death is the ultimate truth. This lesson is about the early life of Gautam Buddha and his first sermon preached at Banaras. A woman who had lost her son in grief went to Buddha and pleaded him to bring his son back to life. Let us read the lesson and find how Buddha how Gautam Buddha taught the lady that death was inevitable. The death cannot be avoided. So let us have a quick look through the lesson, have a quick look to the lesson and come to know how Buddha taught the lady in grief. Her name was Kisa Gotmi. So how to overcome the grief of death of to our near and dear. Gautam Buddha 563 BC to 483 BC began life as a prince named Siddhartha Gautam. At the age of 12, he started his schooling in sacred Hindu scriptures. And 4 years later, he was married to Yashodhara, a princess. At the age of 25, while out hunting, he came across a sick man, then an aged man. It is misspelled here. It should be THEN then. Okay. It is not then. It should be THEN then. Then an aged man, and finally a monk begging for alms. These sights moved him so much that he at once went out to seek enlightenment about the sorrows he had seen. After wandering for 7 years, he finally sat under a peepal tree. He finally sat. It should be sat. It is misspelled once again. It should be sat. He finally sat under a peepal tree and got enlightenment and came to be known as Buddha. He perished his sermon at Banaras, the most holy dipping place on river Ganga. The sermon reflects the Buddha's wisdom about one mysterious kind of suffering. So, in this story, which we are going to read, Kisa Gotmi lost her only son and in her grief, she went from house to house asking people for medicine to bring her son back to life, but in vain. One man told her to go to Gautam Buddha, and she followed the advice. She went to Buddha and cried, "Lord and Master, give me the medicine that will cure my dead son." He answered, "Bring me a handful of," Gautam Buddha answered, "Bring me a handful of mustard seed from a house where no one has lost a child, husband, parent or friend." She went from door to door but could not find even a single house to fulfill the condition. Then she came back to know that death is the ultimate truth. It cannot be avoided. It is inevitable. One who is born must die. Therefore, the wise do not lament on death. So that is why the wise people, they do not express grief on death. So we have seen the lesson quickly. It's a summary of this chapter. We had a quick look to the chapter. So now let us read out the chapter. Okay, so I am going to read out the chapter line by line, and I am going to explain. So you all are requested to open your book at page number 133 and get ready to begin. So dear students, before beginning reading and explanation, let me write some difficult words and their meanings from page number 132. So please note down these words. and their meanings. Befitted. Befitted means be appropriate. Be appropriate. Okay. Next word is royalty. Royalty. Royalty, people of royal blood, people of royal blood or status. People of royal blood or royal status. Next word, heretofore. Heretofore means before now. Before now. Next word is shielded. Shielded. SHIELDED means protected from. Protected from danger. Protected from danger. From a danger. So please note down these words and their meanings. You can also take the screenshot. Befitted. Befitted means be appropriate. Royalty. Royalty means people of royal blood or status. Heretofore. Heretofore means before now. Shielded means protected from a danger. Okay. So now let us continue with reading and explanation. Look at your book now. Gautam Buddha 563 BC to 483 BC began life as a prince named Siddhartha Gautam in northern India. Gautam Buddha began life as a prince named Siddhartha Gautam in northern India. At 12, he was sent away for schooling in the Hindu sacred scriptures, and 4 years later, he returned home to marry a princess. So, dear students, at 12, he was sent away for schooling in the Hindu sacred scriptures, in Hindu religious books, Hindu holy books. And 4 years later, he returned home and married to a princess. They had a son and lived for 10 years as befitted royalty. They had a son and he lived his life which was full of royalty, like the people of royal status for 4 years. At about the age of 25, the prince heretofore shielded from the sufferings of the world while out hunting chanced upon a sick man. So before he was 25 years, so the prince was protected and he did not know the sufferings of the world, but when he went out for hunting, so he came across, by chance, he came across a sick man, then an aged man, then a funeral procession, and finally a monk begging for alms. So when he went out for hunting, he came across a sick man, an aged man, then a funeral procession, a cremation ceremony. Funeral procession means a cremation ceremony which is done after death, in which body is burnt, or body is burnt. Okay. So after death, the funeral ceremony. So a funeral procession is done. So he came across a sick man, then aged man, then a funeral procession, and finally a monk begging for alms. These sights so moved him that he at once went out into the world to seek enlightenment. So these sights affected him so badly that he decided to leave and go for enlightenment. Go into the world to seek enlightenment. Concerning the sorrows he had witnessed, these scenes affected him, so he decided to seek enlightenment. He wandered for 7 years and finally sat down under a peepal tree. So Gautam Buddha wandered 7 years and finally sat down under a peepal tree when he vowed to stay, where he pledged to stay until enlightenment came. So enlightenment after 7 days renamed enlightenment after 7 days. So dear students, he sat under the peepal tree, and he took a place that he would keep on sitting until he would get enlightenment. Enlightenment means here a state of high spiritual knowledge. Until he would get a high spiritual knowledge, he would keep sitting there. So enlightenment came after 7 days. So after 7 days, he gained that knowledge. He renamed the tree the Bodhi tree, tree of wisdom. Then under which tree he got enlightenment, he renamed the tree Bodhi tree, tree of wisdom, and began to teach and to share his new understandings. So what he had learned in those 7 days, he started sharing his understanding regarding life and death. At that point, he became known as the Buddha, the awakened or the enlightened. So at that point, he known as Buddha, which means the enlightened, the person who obtained the high spiritual knowledge. The Buddha preached his first sermon at the city of Benares, most holy of the tipping places on the river Ganges. So the Buddha preached his first sermon, his first religious speech. His first religious speech was preached in Benares, most holy of the dipping places on the river Ganges. That sermon has been preserved and is given here. So the sermon which he had given there, it has been preserved. It reflects the Buddha's wisdom about one inscrutable kind of suffering. So it tells us about Buddha's wisdom about something which cannot be understood, that is death, that is suffering for anything. Now here a story begins which is related to Buddha. Let us go through it and come to know how he taught what is death and what is the reality of death and life to a woman whose name was Kisa Gotami, who lost his son, and she was going door to door asking for medicine. Kisa Gotami had an only son and he died. So Kisa Gotami had only son and his son died. In her grief, she carried the dead child to all her neighbors, asking them for medicine, And the people said, "She has lost her senses. The boy is dead." So, carrying the dead body of her son, in her grief, she carried the dead body in, to all her neighbor. So, carry the dead body of her son. She was going door to door. She went to her all the neighbors, asking them for medicine. She was asking them for medicine to make the child alive, to make her son alive. Sorry, to make her son alive. And the people said, "She has lost her senses." So the people said, Kisa Gotmi had gone mad. The boy is died. The boy is died. It cannot be revived again, even though she was asking for medicine. So that is why people called her mad. People said that she had gone mad in grief of her son's death. At length, Kisa Gotmi met a man who replied to her request, "I cannot give thee medicine, but for thy child, thy means your, it is an old English word. But I know a physician who can." So he met a man who said, "I cannot give medicine to your child, but I know a man. I know a man who can give you the medicine. I know the physician who can." So, and the girl said, "Pray tell me, sir, who is it?" Then she requested to know the name of that man. And the man replied, "Go to Shakyamuni the Buddha." That man replied, "You should go to Shakyamuni the Buddha only. He can give you the medicine to cure your child." Kisa Gotmi repaired to the Buddha and cried. Kisa Gotmi went to Buddha, and she went to Buddha and she cried, "Lord and Master, give me the medicine that will cure my boy." She said, "God and Lord and Master, give me medicine that can cure my boy." The Buddha answered, "I want a handful mustard seed." And when the girl in her joy promised to procure it, the Buddha added, "The mustard seed must be taken from a house where no one had lost a child, husband, parent or friend." So Buddha told her to bring a handful of mustard, but he told she must bring the mustard seeds from the house where no one had died. No one means no child, husband, parent or friend. So dear student, procure means obtain something. Procure means, let me rub it and write down. Procure means obtain something. Procure means obtain something. So Buddha told her to procure mustard from the house, to obtain the mustard from the house where no one had died. Poor Kisa Gotmi now went from house to house, and the people pitied her and said, now poor Kisa Gotmi, she went house to house in order for asking a handful of mustard, and people pitied her and said, here is the mustard seed, take it. So people had a pity on her and they were giving her mustard seed. But when she asked, did a son or daughter, a father or mother die in your family? So when she would ask whether a son, daughter, father, mother, any relative had died in your family, they answered her, alas, the living are few, but the dead are many. Then they answered her, the living are few, but dead are many. Do not remind us for our deepest grief. They said, please do not remind us about them who had died. And there was no house, but some beloved one had died in it. She did not find a house where no beloved had died. Kisa Gotmi became weary and hopeless and sat down at the wayside watching the lights of the city as they flickered up and were extinguished again. Finally, Kisa Gotmi got tired and hopeless. Weary means tired and hopeless, and sat down at the wayside watching the lights of the city. She sat down and she started watching to the lights of the city as they flickered up and were extinguished. Okay, again. So as they were, flickering up, they were flickering up. They were flickering up and extinguishing, flickering up and extinguishing. Okay. At last, the darkness of night reigned everywhere, and at last, the darkness of night covered everything. And she considered the fate of men, that their lips flicker up and are extinguished again, and she thought to herself, how selfish I am in my grief. Death is common to all. Then she came upon this idea and she considered the fate of men. It is like, that light that which flickered up and extinguished again. So it is like that. So the man who is born has to die. The creature who is born on this earth must die. Now, at this point she realized. And she thought to herself how selfish she was in her grief. Death is common to all. Yet in this valley of desolation, in this area which is filled with deep sorrow, valley of desolation means, okay, in this area which is filled with deep sorrow, there is a path that leads him to mortality, who has surrendered all selfishness. So one who has surrendered all selfishness, it will take you where you will be no bound where you will be no bound to die, mortality. It will take you to mortality. Even this valley of desolation, in this area which is filled with deep sorrow, here there is a way, there is a path which will take you to mortality when you give up selfishness. When you give up selfishness, she learned at that point, she learned that if one gives up the selfishness, then he would get mortality. The Buddha said the life of mortals in this world, not mortality, immortality, sorry, the person who are not selfish, if you give up your selfishness, then only then you can get immortality. Okay. The Buddha said the life of mortals in this world is troubled and brief is combined with pain. So Buddha further added that the life of mortals, those who bound to die, we are mortals because we are bound to die. The creature or creatures who are bound to die. So a life of all immortals, all creatures who are bound to die is troubled and brief is combined with pain. So it is combined with pain, for there is not any means by which those that have been born can avoid dying. So there is no any such means by which one can avoid death. After reaching old age, there is death. Of such a nature are living beings. As ripe fruits are ready in danger of falling, so mortals means we are who are bound to die. Creatures, all creatures who are born, they must die, they are bound to die. So the people who are bound to die, the creature who are born, they are bound to die. They are just like ripe fruits, are always early in danger of falling. In the same way, so mortals when born are always in danger of death. As all earthen vessels made by the potter end in being broken, so is the life of mortals. As the all earthen pot which had been made by the potter, they end in breaking. In the same way, the life of mortals, in the same way, the life of all creatures, in the same way, all life. Okay, so one those who is born, who are born, not one those. Sorry. So those who are born, they are bound to die. They must die. Those who are born, they must die. Or mortals. We are our mortals. Mortals means we are bound to die. Both young and adult, both those who are fools and those who are wise, all fall into the power of death. All are subject to death. So whether they are rich or they are poor, whether they are fools or they are wise, so whether anyone, those who are born, so they must die. All are subject to death. So all are subject to death. Okay students, it's all about today's video. In my next video, I'll explain the remaining paragraph of this chapter. I will also discuss questions and their answers and other exercises. So thank you students for watching the video. See you tomorrow.